I planted these hydrangeas in 2016 and they were huge plants already, and since then I have been watering by hand. I have been giving them fertilizer once or twice every year, and I have been trimming a bunch of the branches at the bottom, and I have been letting the blooms just kind of happen at the top, and I never since then had problems with any of the branches just drooping, becoming really flat until this year. Which honestly, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I have had a lot of struggles this year in the garden, so the hydrangeas were added to it. If you are new here, my name is Roxana. Welcome. I garden in central Indiana in Zone 5, and I grow things like flowers, vegetables. I start a lot of things from seed. I buy a lot of plants locally and online. So this channel is basically just about documenting and sharing my garden with you guys. I contribute the flopping of my hydrangeas to the new irrigation that I had for them this year. Like I mentioned, since 2016, the hydrangeas have been here. The first year that I had them here, I watered by hand because you want to get the plants established, you want to get them nice and moisture. So I was here almost every week the first year, just giving them water, making sure they were good and healthy. And I didn't do anything else after that. The years after that, if it got really hot, maybe I will come here and I will give them a bunch of water, but I never had really any automatic system or any type of irrigation for my hydrangeas. This year, however, things change. Heat arrived a little bit earlier and a little bit extreme here in Indiana. You probably experienced that in your side of the woods. But I decided to put a bunch of irrigation, which is the 1/2 inch brown tubing that has the emitters in them already every 18 inches. So I did all of that setup. It wasn't really that big of a deal. And I started watering these plants, these shrubs, every 3 days for about an hour. Now I do have a lot of emitters around the roots of the hydrangeas. One, I think that's overkill. I have talked to a lot of people. I am kind of new to irrigation and like how often and how long. So everybody seems to have an idea, an opinion on how often and how long to water these plants, especially now that they're established. A lot of people even mention that I even don't need to have irrigation on them because they're already established and they're doing good, right? So I think, and I don't know anything about this, I think that maybe the extra amount of water that I have been giving them since the beginning of the spring maybe contributed to maybe the plants not being as strong as before. Don't get me wrong, we have storms here in Indiana. We have lots of rain sometimes that come hard and heavy all at once. So the plants do happen to get flat on the ground. They droop a little, they flop, but they always come up. They always get back to where they were in their beautiful, gorgeous state of gorgeousness. This year, about a month or so ago, we had, a huge rain, a huge storm. They flop, but they didn't go up. So my poor hydrangeas, I wish I would have taken a picture, but my poor hydrangeas suffered. They were flat on the ground. I mean, they were flat. And the reason why I think that the extra water that they're getting is one of the reasons why they are a little bit floppy is because I did post something regarding the hydrangeas flopping, especially on my Instagram account. I posted a story asking people, this is what happened. I added irrigation. Could this be the reason? And a lot of people with more experience with hydrangeas and irrigation mentioned that that was more than likely the reason why the hydrangeas were drooping. In a way, I guess, giving them a little too much water could really hurt the plants. The fact that they had been established, the fact that they had been here for years without any irrigation, I shouldn't have done that. I just shouldn't have installed that many pipes around the shrubs for that often and for that long especially. What I'm going to be doing, hopefully this fall or maybe even next spring, I am going to be cutting the parts where the hydrangeas have irrigations, and I am just going to let the irrigation keep on running towards the front of the house, because while I don't want any water getting to the hydrangeas in that extent, I do want to keep on letting the irrigation happen for the rest of the front of the house, because I have a bunch of perennials and roses and annuals and things like that. So you do things that you think that you might be helping in the garden, but you know, sometimes you mess up, and that's just how it is. And you may be thinking, well, Roxana, you don't know the reason really, and this doesn't really help, right? Well, maybe somebody out there has experience with this. Maybe you guys are going through this, and you might, be thinking like, why are my hydrangeas drooping this much, or why are they flopping this much? And maybe you install water, maybe you're giving them a little bit too much water. Like I said, I am not really positive that the extra water is the reason why. It could just be a combination of the weather, the blooms being gigantic like they are. It just could have been a combination of things, but I am going to take a step back on the irrigation as far as the hydrangeas go, and maybe that will help. Maybe next year I'll be here and I'll update you on, how are they doing? Are they flopping? Are they going back up? I just figure I will share with you guys, and maybe this will help you maybe for the future. If you have your hydrangeas flopping, maybe you have too much water going to them. Also, the hydrangeas are at their best right now. I am just loving them, and I did have to have my husband help me pushing all of the blooms back up. We used some string, whatever string you have at home, and we just kind of went zigzag from one side to the other, helping the blooms kind of go back up. And since then, we have had a couple of rains, a couple of storms, really hard storms, and they seem to be doing okay. So they're just going to stay like that. This is actually the first year that I have to use some sort of string to keep my blooms looking amazing, because I honestly don't ever have to do anything to the hydrangeas other than keep them nice and clean at the bottoms. But it's just one of those years. I don't know what else to do, right? Also, I got some covers for my hose reel from HOSELINK, and I think I had a couple of them, and I have been kind of playing. And I think that this is the winner. I think that this is the one that I won. The other way. They only have a handful of covers. Yeah, this is right. And I wish that they will give us more choices, a little bit more colors, maybe more patterns. I think that this one is my favorite for this bar. I hope that this video was helpful in some way. Like I said, I just wanted to share with you what is going on with my hydrangeas, because this is real life. My hydrangeas don't always look the best, and especially this year, lots of struggles, and it was one of those things where I didn't know what to do and I wasn't sure what was going on. So I just thought I'd share it, I document it, and for future years maybe I'll look back, and like I said, maybe next year when I take the irrigation off, maybe I won't have this problem, and I'll be able to say maybe that was it, right? Who knows? Thank you for being here, and until the next time.